Today, we're cutting straight to a really crucial measure of operational effectiveness: supply chain maturity.
Right. And it's not just theory, is it? It's a framework, a benchmark, really.
Exactly. It tells you where you stand, on integration, coordination, all relative to your biggest competitor.
Just the key part, relative.
So our mission for you in this deep dive is pretty clear. First, nail down your current state in this model.
Where are you now?
And second, figure out the steps needed to close that gap to get where you want to be.
We're using that standard 5-stage model of evolution.
Yeah, the 5 stages. But it's important to remember, this isn't like rigid steps. It's a continuum.
Definitely. Organizations can be messy. You might see bits of stage 2 and stage 3 happening at the same time.
Right. And context matters too. Historically, things were maybe more stable, predictable demand, long production runs.
Low costs were the name of the game.
But today, with globalization, tech shifts. Well, few industries have that luxury anymore.
Which means most immature chains, they're starting right at the bottom. Stage 1.
Okay, so let's start there. But first, maybe set the stage a bit more. Why is maturity defined competitively?
Well, like we said, supply chain maturity is fundamentally about your level of integration and coordination compared to competing supply chains.
So you could think you're doing okay internally, but
if your rival's supply chain is 2 stages ahead, you're lagging behind strategically. Companies can fall behind for lots of reasons. Maybe they were sheltered by the market for a while.
Or maybe just didn't have the resources. Small, mid-sized companies.
That's a big one. Or sometimes it's just complacency. They got comfortable.
Dangerous place to be.
Very. If you're not benchmarking, you simply don't know where you truly stand.
Okay, let's unpack this journey then. Starting at the very beginning. Stage 1. Multiple dysfunction. Sounds pretty bad.
It is the baseline, unfortunately. The default starting point, if you haven't actively worked on efficiency, it sounds less like a supply chain.
More like departments barely talking.
Exactly. A collection of, desperate departments, almost chaos, really.
But the sources call this a reactive supply chain, just fulfilling demand when forced to, and seen purely as a cost center, right?
Pure cost. No strategic value seen there at all. And the dysfunction is everywhere. Activities are ad hoc. Planning. Forget it.
How does management operate in that kind of environment?
Pep talks, maybe, or threats according to the source material. Not exactly collaborative.
And forecasting.
Mostly guesswork, often wildly optimistic, driven by marketing hopes rather than, data.
And the logistics must be a nightmare.
Oh, absolutely. Warehouses everywhere, near each market, overstocked constantly, trucks showing up unannounced.
And purchasing, just buying stuff transactional.
Completely transactional, maybe using different suppliers all the time. Probably not even talking to logistics folks about what's coming in or going out.
Wow. Just operating in isolation. Hitting local targets, but maybe hurting the whole company.
That's stage 1 in a nutshell. Sheer willpower and friction. Maybe some fax machines holding it together.
Okay, that sets a pretty clear, if bleak, picture. What's the first step up? Stage 2, semi-functional enterprise.
Right, this is the first real leap. You start seeing better information flow, internally at least. Functional areas get defined.
So progress. Departments are starting to form.
It is progress. But here's the big catch. The departments perform their tasks one after the other. Sequentially.
So still not really collaborating.
Not on creating value together, no. They haven't broadened their view beyond their own function. No real partnerships with customers or suppliers yet.
Still reactive then, just maybe a bit more organized?
Exactly. The focus shifts to becoming a reactive, efficient supply chain, trying to optimize the total delivered cost of finished goods.
And you start seeing some tech. Automation.
Basic stuff. Maybe some material handling equipment, conveyors, things to cut labor costs within that functional silo.
The silo problem. That's classic stage 2, isn't it?
It is. This is where it really bites. You get these initiatives that boost efficiency inside one department.
But it doesn't help the overall flow.
Or the gains are just wasted because nobody talked to the next department in the chain. Market research finds a golden opportunity.
But there's no pathway to get that to the product designers.
No structured way, no. Or think about mergers and acquisitions. One department gets new software.
And it's totally incompatible with what the other guys are using. Yeah, I've seen that.
Common problem. Local optimization, but potential enterprise failure because the pieces don't connect.
So if stage 2 is about building functional walls, stage 3 must be about tearing them down internally. The integrated enterprise.
Precisely. This is the crucial turning point. The focus shifts fundamentally away from individual functions.
Towards company-wide business processes.
Yes. Thinking about the flow across the organization, historically this lines up with the late 80s, early 90s.
Why then specifically?
Affordable computing power? Really? Powerful enough to handle that kind of integration across departments? This is the era when ERP systems started to take hold.
Enterprise resource planning, the big integrated systems.
Exactly. That investment signals the need for a common language, a single source of truth across the company. It's the birth of internal cohesion.
And this internal integration changes the nature of the chain.
It does. We move from reactive efficient to proactive efficient.
Proactive, meaning anticipating. Using data to plan ahead.
Right. Instead of just reacting to problems after they happen, you're coordinating to see them coming and plan accordingly.
How does that coordination happen practically?
The classic tool here is sales and operations planning, S&OP meetings.
Getting sales, marketing, production all in a room together.
Regularly. Looking at the same demand plan, coordinating supply, making sure everyone's working off the same numbers.
Makes sense. And what about product design?
That becomes a team effort too. Thinking about design for manufacturability, design for logistics, even design for the environment right from the start. Collaboration is key.
Okay, so stage 3 is mainly internal integration. But you mentioned logistics. Do they start looking outside at all?
Often, yeah. A common first step externally is partnering with a sophisticated logistics provider. A 3PL, maybe.
To kind of insource that expertise.
Exactly. To help them optimize their internal logistics using outside knowledge, almost like getting ready for the next big jump.
Because they've squeezed out most of the internal efficiencies by now.
Pretty much. They've tidied up their own house, optimized the internal processes. The next logical step is to look outwards.
Which brings us to stage 4, the extended enterprise. Now this sounds like a huge leap. Stage 3 was about internal trust. Stage 4 means collaborating with external partners.
It is a massive leap.
Sharing sensitive data, planning information, maybe with companies supplying my rivals. That sounds risky.
That fear, that jump in trust, that's the core challenge. It's the biggest non-technical barrier moving from 3 to 4.
So it's more cultural than technological.
Often, yes. The defining feature of stage 4 is extending at least one key business process beyond your own company walls. Planning, design, logistics, whatever it is.
And you have to overcome that reluctance to share.
You have to, because this is where the supply chain becomes a strategic driver. The nature of competition fundamentally changes here.
How so?
It's no longer just company versus company, it's supply chain versus supply chain.
Wow. So if my chain doesn't collaborate effectively...
Your entire chain could lose out to a rival chain that does share information and coordinate better. Cooperation becomes essential for competition.
Okay, so what does that look like in practice? Full transparency.
Pretty much. Forecasting, planning, inventory levels, replenishment plans, all integrated and visible across key partners. Sharing information, technology, knowledge in real time.
Is there a classic example of this?
The famous one is Procter & Gamble and Walmart. It started small, apparently just with diapers.
Really? Just diapers?
Yeah. P&G saw Walmart's inventory data could replenish proactively. The benefits were so immediate, it became the model for much wider collaboration, totally changing retail supply chains.
And technically, how does this sharing happen? Linking systems.
Essentially, yes. Partners start synchronizing their ERP systems or using shared platforms to exchange data seamlessly across company boundaries. Think Dell's build-to-order model back in the day.
Right, customer order goes in, specs go straight to the component suppliers.
Bypassing Dell's own inventory for many parts. That level of synchronization makes the entire chain the competitive weapon. It acts almost like one entity.
Okay, that really sets the scene for the ultimate stage then. Stage 5, the orchestrated supply chain. This is the peak. Digital transformation realized.
This is the pinnacle, yes. Sometimes called Industry 4.0, especially in Europe. It's about harvesting all the benefits from the previous stages to gain a real, sustainable competitive edge over other chains.
It sounds like technology must be absolutely seamless here.
It's a prerequisite, definitely. But tech alone isn't enough. You need highly skilled leaders, agile teams that can adapt super quickly.
What's the main focus shift at stage 5?
The emphasis moves heavily towards things like security, resilience, actively building in risk management, and really proving value realization, measuring the benefits.
And sourcing changes too. Not just lean, but resilient.
Right-sized and resilient, meaning it's efficient but also adaptable. It can pivot fast if there's a disruption. Data integrity here is non-negotiable.
Absolutely critical for decision-making, I imagine. Predictive Analytics.
Very much so. Data needs to be clean, secure, and actively used. Automation is common, but here's a key point Stage 5 companies get. Review the process first. Make it efficient, intuitive, then automate it.
You can't just automate a broken process.
Exactly. Automating dysfunction doesn't lead to transformation. And there's a big social challenge here, too, mentioned in the sources.
Which is?
The relationship with IT. If your IT team has become purely reactive, just fixing things,
They can't be strategic partners in leveraging new tech, like blockchain or dealing with cyber threats.
precisely. Stage 5 demands a deeply strategic partnership with IT for security, innovation, everything.
So ultimately, reaching stage 5, it sounds less about the tech stack and more about the culture.
It really is. You need to embed change management deep into the organization's DNA. People need to be comfortable with change, expect it, feel supported through it. Without that cultural foundation, the best systems in the world won't deliver their full potential.
That makes sense. So pulling it all together, these evolved supply chains, stages 4 and 5, what's their ultimate goal?
It shifts from pure cost minimization
Which dominated the earlier stages.
to creating net value, the total benefit the chain delivers, considering everything cost, speed, innovation, resilience, customer satisfaction. It's a much broader, more strategic view.
And this maturity assessment model we've discussed is the tool to gauge progress towards that.
Exactly. You use it to find the gaps. What's holding your chain back from achieving that connectivity, that visibility, that value creation?
And it's not a one-off exercise.
Absolutely not. It's continuous. You have to keep monitoring, keep reassessing, especially after big events, mergers, reorgs, major market shifts. The landscape is always changing.
So we've traced the path from stage 1 chaos,
Multiple dysfunction,
right, through internal integration in stage 3,
getting your own house in order,
into the network competition of stage 4,
chain versus chain.
and finally, stage 5 orchestration. It's really clear that technology enables these shifts, but the real hurdles are often human, cultural.
Absolutely. The trust, the collaboration, the willingness to change.
Okay, so let's leave our listeners with something to mull over, a final thought based on this journey.
Go for it.
If stage 4 is where competition becomes chain versus chain, demanding that external collaboration, what's the single biggest non-technical barrier for a company trying to move from stage 3, the internally integrated enterprise, into stage 4, the extended one?
That's a good one to ponder.
Think about what stage 4 truly requires. It's not just sharing data feeds, it's shared planning, shared risk, deep collaboration across corporate boundaries.
That demands a fundamental shift in mindset.
Exactly. It requires building intercompany trust and a culture that embraces mutual change management. And that, arguably, is a much taller hurdle to clear than just implementing the next piece of software.